What yogis mean by becoming the space between atoms, a sacred transmission on formlessness, quantum presence, and the return to pure awareness. Opening transmission. What is smaller than the smallest thought? What moves faster than time yet never travels at all? What cannot be grasped, seen, held, or described, yet is the very source from which all things emerge. The ancient yogis knew that hidden beneath sensation, beneath the swirl of mind and the veil of matter, there exists a boundless silence, a stillness not empty, but infinitely awake. They called it the space between atoms, but they were not speaking of distance, they were speaking of you. Not matter, not mind, but that which holds them both. At the heart of yogic realization lies a paradox. We are told to observe the breath, to focus the gaze, to discipline the senses and transcend the body. But what is left when all forms dissolve? What remains when thought goes silent and the body becomes still? Modern science says we are mostly space, that the atom, though it builds the world, is 99.99999% empty. But yogis do not look outward for emptiness. They look inward, into the fabric of perception itself. They discover that awareness is not inside the body. The body is inside awareness, and so is the mind, and so is thought, and so is time. To become the space between atoms is to reverse the illusion. It is to stop identifying with the particles and begin dissolving into the infinite field that holds them. Not metaphorically, but directly. 2. The shift from form to field. When you close your eyes and feel the breath, that awareness, the knowing of breath, is not made of air or blood or brain. It is made of nothing. And yet, it knows everything. This is the field. Modern quantum physicists have brushed up against it. They speak of quantum fields, superpositions, non-locality. But what the yogis found was more intimate. They didn't measure the field. They became it. When the yogi says, "I am not the body," it is not rejection. It is return. When they say, "I am not the mind," it is not negation. It is revelation. They mean, I am that vast silence in which the body is sensed. That limitless presence in which thought appears and disappears. They are describing what exists in the gap, between thought and thought, between breath and breath, between particle and particle, the space that is not space, but pure being. Stillness as the gateway to atomic dissolution. If you sit long enough, truly still, not just physically but inwardly, a strange thing begins to happen. Time slows, sensation softens, and something beneath experience begins to open. The body starts to feel transparent, the skin porous. Thoughts fade, but what remains is not absence. It is expanse. You are no longer looking at the world is arising inside your stillness. And this stillness is not an object. It is the womb, the origin, the invisible presence that has always been here, unchanging, unmoving, untouched. You are not the atoms that dance. You are the space that allows their dance to be seen, and from that realization begins a sacred undoing. 4. The true meaning of disidentification. Much of spiritual language speaks of renunciation, of letting go of the ego, the personality, the narrative. But disidentification is not rejection. It is expansion beyond confinement. It is the simple seeing, I am not the name, not the age, not the story. I am that which is aware of the name, the age. It is not dissociation. It is homecoming. Because what notices the flicker of sensation? What watches the breath without effort? What remains when all else falls silent? That is you. Not the constructed self, but the field of knowing. That is the space between atoms. 5. The subtle body's entry into quantum awareness. Yogis speak often of prana, the vital current, But deeper than prana is shunya, not nothingness in the void sense, but an ungraspable openness that saturates all things. In this openness, you begin to feel yourself as subtle presence. Your hands no longer feel like flesh, but as warm, flowing light. Your spine, a channel of vibration. Your skin, a veil through which you touch everything. This is not imagination. This is the first step into becoming formless form. You have not disappeared, but you are no longer bound, no longer a point of view, but a view without point, no longer a body in space, but space cradling the body. You have become that field, the one that is always present, but rarely noticed until now. 6. Why the mind cannot follow you here. To become the space between atoms is to step beyond language. The mind tries to define, measure, compare. But awareness is not an object. It is the light in which objects are seen. And so the deeper you go, the quieter it becomes, until even the observer dissolves, not in loss, but in completion. Like a wave that remembers it was never separate from the ocean, the yogi becomes silence, and silence itself becomes radiant, not dull or void, but alive, vast, soft, free. Here there is no effort, no technique, only presence. And that is why this path is not something you learn, it is something you remember. The practical meaning of this realization in modern life. This is not philosophy for monks only. It is medicine for the modern soul. In a world of speed, noise, stimulation, to become the space between atoms is to reclaim your ground. The real ground, not the floor beneath your feet, but the stillness beneath your being. This is why the yogi moves slowly, speaks less, breathes gently. They are not performing, they are listening to that subtle hum of being, to that hidden pulse of presence that all things ride upon. And when you too begin to slow, to soften your grasp on identity and outcome, you begin to feel the truth. You are not in time. Time is in you. You are not in the body. The body is in you. You are not a seeker. You are what is sought. Mystical reflection. To become the space between atoms is not to vanish, but to expand beyond definition. It is to wake up as the silent witness, as the holding field, as the boundless breath in which all things appear. You were never a form looking for peace. You are the peace from which all form arises. Let yourself dissolve gently into the unseen that sees, into the silence that speaks, into the space that breathes you. If this sacred glimpse has stirred something within, let it deepen. Let it become your practice, your breath, your path. You are invited to journey even further into these sacred teachings. Subscribe to this channel for more transmissions on stillness, awareness, and inner transformation. And if you feel called to support this sacred offering, consider becoming a member and helping us share this light with the world. Next episode preview. The next transmission will unveil the moment time stops and the real journey begins, a direct transmission into timeless perception and the soul's true path.